Burkina Faso was formerly thought to be an easy target. Insurgent organizations took advantage of the nation's lack of sophisticated weapons, while foreign powers controlled its security by offering military assistance on their terms. The outcome? A vicious cycle of unpredictability, dependence, and ongoing dangers without any meaningful ability to alter the circumstances. That was in the past. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré assumed leadership, everything was different. His leadership was not about begging for help or giving speeches. He did something. He realized that there was only one thing that could save Burkina Faso: self-reliance in defense. He went directly to the sources of power rather than waiting for outside assistance. Countries such as Russia, China, Serbia, Romania, and Turkey purchased the munitions Burkina Faso required to fight its own wars. This was a strategic shift, not merely a purchase of weaponry. From ground firepower, armored mobility, and sophisticated counterinsurgency techniques to aerial dominance, each weapon acquired had a distinct function inside Burkina Faso's military system. These were components of a brand new, autonomous military strategy, not merely acquisitions. Furthermore, Burkina Faso is today more powerful, equipped, and ready than ever. What are the armaments that have changed Burkina Faso's military strategy, one could wonder. We want to take a moment to express our gratitude for your support and for being an important part of our vibrant community. If you haven't joined yet, we invite you to do so that we can work together to create an even greater community. Let's begin. The drone war in Bayraktar Akanji has evolved. The goal of victory is now to control the battlefield before the enemy even recognizes what is happening, not to have the largest force. Burkina Faso's most potent weapon is therefore an eye in the sky that never blinks, not a tank, a cannon, or a missile. However, intelligence is insufficient on its own. Threats are not merely detected by the Akanji, they are eliminated. This drone, equipped with explosives and precision-guided missiles, it's with unparalleled accuracy. The Akanji can strike targets quickly, anywhere, at any time, unlike conventional airstrikes that call on costly fighter jets and intricate operations. The rules of war in Burkina Faso have been altered by this one weapon. In the past, insurgent organizations focused on hiding in isolated locations in the hopes that national armies wouldn't be able to find them. However, hiding is no longer an option with the Akanji hovering overhead. And you're not alone. Burkina Faso's Air Force has another secret weapon that flies lower, attacks faster, and with deadly precision, while the Akanji dominate from high altitudes. TB2 Bayraktar. A drone. The TB2 is the unrelenting killer if the Akanji is the all-seeing protector. The TB2 is the ideal weapon for counterinsurgency operations because it functions closer to the ground than its larger sibling. By seriously impairing enemy troops in Libya, Syria, and Nagorno-Karabakh, this drone has already demonstrated its superiority in international battles. Burkina Faso has now used it to launch precise strikes against high-value targets, destroy enemy supply routes, and destroy insurgent strongholds. The TB2's ability to disappear after the terminate is what makes it so terrifying. Before the adversary even realizes what has happened, it stealthily approaches, latches onto its target, launches a precisely guided missile, and vanishes. There is only devastation, no warning, no way out. Together, these two drones have given Burkina Faso complete aerial dominance, something no other West African country has ever accomplished. However, drones cannot control area on their own. Burkina Faso requires firepower on the ground to completely safeguard its borders, which is where its heavy weapons come in. Add your voice to the total liberation of Africa by leaving a comment in the comments section below. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more informative videos like this one. Let's proceed. Heavy machine gun from Dishku. Burkina Faso releases the Dishka as the adversary approaches. However, this machine gun is not just any machine gun. It is a symbol of the battlefield that has influenced combat outcomes for many generations. World War II, the Korean and Vietnam Wars, the Middle East, and wars throughout Africa have all seen action. The Dishko has left its mark wherever there has been conflict. Its reputation is based solely on its unadulterated, relentless firepower. The Dishko is a beast built for heavy battle, in contrast to conventional infantry weapons, which are intended for close quarters. It shoots enormous 12.7mm rounds, which are so potent that they can tear through armored cars, puncture enemy airplanes, and demolish fortifications from a distance of hundreds of meters. The Dishko is revolutionary in Burkina Faso's hands. This gun serves as the first line of defense against enemy assaults and can be mounted on tactical vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and even hardened defensive positions. Mobile combat forces depend on it to escort convoys and control the battlefield, while soldiers positioned in isolated outposts utilize it to guard key locations. Insurgents in the Sahel have long depended on mobility, ambush tactics, and speed. Their preferred tactic is the use of technical trucks, machine gun-equipped pickups to launch a swift attack before vanishing across the wide desert. These swift, lightly armored vehicles are designed to overrun weakly fortified outposts before reinforcements can reach them. However, the Dishko modifies the regulations. It eliminates the enemy's greatest advantage, which is speed. This massive machine gun can rip through a convoy in a single burst, converting technical trucks that move quickly into flaming ruins. Because of the gun's fast rate of fire and long-range accuracy, the opponent is already being attacked before they are within striking range. The versatility of the Dishko is what gives it even more power. It can be put on military outposts to fend off unexpected raids, mounted on watchtowers to offer 360-degree defense, or mounted on moving vehicles to guarantee Burkina Faso's warriors always have firepower with them. Not even enemy planes are safe. The Dishko has been employed in previous battles to bring down low-flying aircraft and helicopters, making it a makeshift air defense weapon in places without access to sophisticated missile systems. Burkina Faso's choice to use the Dishko is based on strategy rather than just firepower. Previously relying on hit-and-run operations, insurgents now have to contend with an adversary that can strike first, strike hard, and strike from a distance. No opposing vehicle approaches, no ambush is uncontested, and no assailant escapes unscathed thanks to the Dishko. The battleground has changed since Burkina Faso acquired this weapon. Once able to move freely and boldly, enemies now have to reconsider their attack attempts, because they know one thing every time they get closer: awaiting is the Dishko. However, without protection, even the strongest firepower is nothing. For this reason, Burkina Faso has bolstered its military with the WM-I-301 armored fighting vehicle, one of the most potent armored vehicles in its history. Wars cannot be won by firepower alone. Mobility is necessary. For this reason, Burkina Faso has made an investment in the WM-I-301 armored fighting vehicle, a vehicle designed for devastation, defense, and speed. The WM-I-301, in contrast to conventional tanks, is built for African conditions. It shields its crew from hostile fire, landmines, and IEDs, while moving quickly and delivering powerful blows. It can destroy enemy fortifications, neutralize armored threats, and make way for ground forces thanks to its 105mm cannon. These vehicles have been used by Burkina Faso to reinforce military outposts and storm insurgent hideouts in frontline battle zones. However, what occurs if the altercation spills into the streets? This brings us to Burkina Faso's next weapon, VP-11, armored car. Not every conflict takes place in a wide-open desert. Tight city streets are the scene of some of the fiercest battles, where adversaries hide in buildings and attack soldiers up close. The VP-11 armored vehicle excels in this situation. The VP-11 is compact, quick, and almost unbreakable, and it was created for urban combat. Burkina Faso's troops can dominate city warfare thanks to its ability to deflect bullets, absorb explosions, and maneuver through confined locations. The VP-11 has the ability to breach obstacles, drive directly into enemy territory, and deploy heavily armed troops directly to the scene of an ambush. For counterinsurgency operations, it is revolutionary. Burkina Faso has established a strong military fortress consisting of armored protection, ground firepower, and air superiority. However, defense isn't always sufficient. Sometimes the best course of action is to attack first, and Burkina Faso's artillery strength comes into play in this situation. Multiple rocket launcher at PR-40. Close combat and minor firefights aren't the only aspects of war. At times, it's about destruction from afar. Conventional weaponry are ineffective when the opponent is concealed behind hills in dense forests or fortified positions. You require overwhelming firepower. Rockets are necessary. For this reason, Burkina Faso purchased the APR-40 multiple rocket launcher, a potent weapon capable of quickly destroying opposing positions. This isn't a firearm. It's not a drone attack. Everything in their path is destroyed by the simultaneous firing of this storm of rockets. The military of Burkina Faso can launch 40 rockets in less than 20 seconds using the APR-40, striking targets that are dozens of kilometers away. There is only complete devastation, no warning, no time to respond. Eliminating opposing forces is not the only purpose for this weapon. It is a tool for psychological warfare. Insurgents do not retaliate when they hear the thunderous roar of approaching rockets. They flee. The effectiveness of this strategy in upsetting opposing formations and lowering morale has been demonstrated by its deployment in previous African battles, such as the wars in Angola and Mozambique. Burkina Faso is now one of the countries that can strike its adversaries with precise artillery. Even the most effective ground forces are afraid of hostile aircraft, notwithstanding the potency of rocket artillery. Additionally, Burkina Faso was unable to prevent airborne hazards for years. That changed when Captain Traoré introduced 9K-32 Strela-E manpads, one of the most lethal air defense systems ever constructed. Many countries in Africa have never enjoyed the luxury of air superiority. Prior till recently, Burkina Faso was ill-prepared for airstrikes. The nation was unable to react if foreign fighter jets, enemy drones, or even attack helicopters entered Burkina Bay airspace. Because of this weakness, adversaries found it simple to spy, carry out surprise attacks, and take control of the battlefield from above. No more. The 9K-32 Strela-2, a portable surface-to-air missile system capable of bringing down airplanes in a matter of seconds, has just been deployed by Burkina Faso. An Air Force base is not necessary for the operation of this sizable, intricate system. With just one shot, Burkina Bay soldiers on the ground may destroy enemy planes because to this shoulder-fired missile launcher. Initially deployed in Vietnam, the Middle East, and then Africa, this missile system demonstrated its lethal accuracy in taking out helicopters and low-flying aircraft. When in Burkina Faso's control, it indicates that no enemy drone. Although protecting the skies is important, modern combat also involves rapid response missions that need armored protection, speed, and mobility on ground. Burkina Faso's armament has one of the most adaptable combat vehicles for that purpose. Instead of fighting sluggish, conventional battles, Burkina Faso's forces attack quickly, hit hard, and vanish before the enemy even realizes what has happened. It's about tactical superiority, speed, and intelligence. Having a car that can keep up with the battle is necessary for that. One that can perform several combat jobs since it is quick, well protected, and adaptable. The Ada Yalcin tactical armored vehicle was used by Burkina Faso for precisely this reason. This high-mobility 4x4 combat vehicle was designed in Turkey and is intended for aggressive modern warfare. in contrast to a bulky tank. The Ada Yalçın is a sluggish, confrontation-oriented weapon that can quickly react to threats in a variety of terrains by striking and repositioning. Its ability to go off-road is one of its best qualities. The battlefields in Burkina Faso are not well-maintained roadways. They are thick forests, rugged slopes, and arid deserts. In these conditions, many traditional military vehicles perform poorly, becoming trapped in rugged terrain or losing speed when compelled to go off-road. However, the Ada Yalçın is designed to take over any terrain. It can go swiftly over sand, dirt, and uneven terrain without slowing down because to its reinforced all-terrain tires, high ground clearance, and sophisticated suspension system. In a conflict zone, speed is insufficient. A car needs to be able to sustain damage and continue to drive. Because of its strengthened armor, the Ada Yalçın can withstand shrapnel, small weapons fire, and even explosive bursts from roadside bombs and landmines. In the area, insurgent groups commonly employ ambush tactics, improvised explosive devices, and IEDs in an effort to neutralize military convoys using concealed explosives. In order to increase survivability, the Ada Yalçın's V-shaped hull and armored plating are specifically designed to redirect explosion energy away from the crew. However, defense is only one aspect of protection. Firepower is another. The Ada Yalçın is a combat-ready assault vehicle, not only an armored transport. Machine guns, automated grenade launchers, and anti-tank missiles are just a few of the mounted weaponry that can be installed on it. This indicates that it involves more than merely relocating troops. During combat operations, it is actively fighting the adversary, suppressing fire, and eliminating threats. The Ada Yalçın serves a variety of purposes on the battlefield in Burkina Faso. It is used in missions by the Border Patrol, making certain that smugglers and rebel organizations are unable to travel freely across the nation's borders. Because of its mobility, it can maneuver through tight streets and shield soldiers from ambushes and sniper fire in urban battle. It functions as a rapid assault vehicle in swift operations, delivering elite troops into combat before the adversary can respond. The military strategy of Burkina Faso is ideal for this vehicle. Burkina Faso battles with speed, intelligence, and strategic mobility, in contrast to larger nations that depend on conventional warfare and heavy tank divisions. Burkina-based soldiers can outmaneuver, outrun, and overpower insurgents who use conventional guerrilla tactics thanks to the Ada Yalçın. The military of Burkina Faso can now conduct operations in areas where enemy forces previously felt secure because to this armored vehicle's high speed and high survival. Assuming that the army couldn't get to them in time, insurgents used to hide in rugged terrain. Now confront a different reality. Burkina-based soldiers can reach their hideouts no matter where they travel or how far away they are. Quick, equipped, and prepared. The Ada Yalçın is more than just a car. It is a warning to the adversaries of Burkina Faso. You can't hide, but you can run. These vehicles have been used by the Burkina Faso military in fast assault raids against insurgents, border patrol missions, and counterinsurgency operations. Special forces are transported using these vehicles, putting them in place before the adversary is even aware of the situation. Burkina Faso's military is more potent than ever, with armored vehicles ruling the highways, heavy machine guns guarding the ground, artillery firing from a distance, and drones controlling the air. However, without the soldiers who are trained to wield them, all of these weaponry are useless, and the most significant change has occurred there. The Burkina Faso Army's new weapons are only instruments. The people behind the guns, the troops, the strategists, and the leaders who know how to utilize them are what really give a military its strength. Burkina Faso has not only obtained weapons under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, but it has also developed an army that is proficient in their usage. The Burkina Faso military of today is not the same as that of the past. In order to overcome its adversaries, this force has studied contemporary combat, taken lessons from international conflicts, and implemented innovative strategies. Burkina Faso has developed specialist counterinsurgency troops and received training in drone-assisted intelligence collection, urban combat, and desert warfare. No longer do soldiers wait on foreign experts to give them orders. They have complete control over their strategy, are in charge of their operations, are carrying out missions precisely, and are protecting their country. With the support of fresh military partnerships, Burkina Faso has dispatched its troops to China and Turkey, two countries with extensive combat experience, for advanced training. They now know how to launch tactical ambushes against rebels, coordinate drone strikes, and carry out armored assaults. The goal is to become an unstoppable force in West Africa, not only to bolster defenses, a force capable of competing with any adversary, whether home or international. The adversaries of Burkina Faso did not anticipate this. They believed that the nation would continue to be weak, fragmented, and reliant on foreign powers. Through political manipulation, military assistance, and economic pressure, they believed they could exert control over Burkina Faso. However, they were mistaken. Burkina Faso's future has been rewritten by Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The days of depending on military assistance from the West are past. Being a simple target for rebels is no longer an option. The days of Burkina Faso being treated like a pawn on a chessboard by foreign powers. Over. This Burkina Faso is new. A Burkina Faso in charge of its own fate. A Burkina Faso that prevails in its own conflicts. Burkina Faso has developed an independent military with the most potent rocket launchers, the most mobile armored vehicles, the most deadly machine guns, and the most sophisticated drones. The country is no longer weak. It's a stronghold. And for the first time in history, the people who are terrified are Burkina Faso's adversaries. Do you believe that Burkina Faso is not as dangerous as they claim? Is the safest place today Burkina Faso? Do you believe that Traoré's actions are required of all African leaders? Tell us what you think in the comments section below. We explore the rich history, culture, and the ongoing struggle for sovereignty in Africa. Join us in this important conversation by subscribing to our channel. By subscribing, you're not just staying informed, you're becoming part of a movement dedicated to reclaiming Africa's rightful place on the global stage. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Let's work together to spread knowledge and inspire change. Thanks for watching.